Hey everyone, here with another episode with Jazz Singh, who you probably know of if you're watching my channel because he is one of the best OGs in the space, which is funny because he hasn't been doing it that long. He's just crushing it so much, and he's been one of the most helpful guys to me. So I'm stoked to have him. Thanks for jumping on, Jazz.
No, of course. I mean, thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm more than happy to kind of help however we can.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. So first thing I want to say, because you've probably seen me mention this, I think, on Twitter a couple times. The thing that you helped me a ton with, I want to get this out of the way. Here's a value add for people who don't know. Make sure your page you're sending people to on Facebook, it has nothing on it other than for them to put in their email. Do not have links. Don't have read more. Don't have whatever. Jazz told me that, and I think you made the same mistake, right? You were doing it wrong, and then you fixed it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I made that mistake. Yeah, like I mean, what it leads to is like your cost for acquiring a subscriber definitely goes up, because the person coming to your landing page will be distracted and that sort of thing. So you
Mm-hmm.
don't want that to happen.
Totally. Especially in my case, I was sending them to my own landing page, which had too much
Yeah,
just random information. But the other thing people have to worry about is on Beehive, there's the button underneath that says read more, and you have to manually turn that off. And so that's, if you're watching this and you're using Beehive, check your page, make sure it doesn't say read more, turn that off. And that cut my cost of acquisition about in half. I think you said yours was cut in half too, right?
yeah, around there.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I really appreciate you sharing that with me. That was awesome, and it helped me a ton. Um,
Of course.
cool, man. Well, hey, give us. I bet you anybody watching this has probably seen some of your interviews or knows about you, but maybe give a brief update or brief intro to you, and then maybe let's chat some updates on where you're at today on numbers wise.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, a little bit about myself. Been kind of in the social media world, selling a few theme pages and stuff since I was like 14. And then decided to go to university, finished that about 2 years ago, transitioned into marketing, and then about a year ago, I started the Winnipeg Digest, which is the local newsletter that we'll be talking about. So actually, exactly a year. I think we are now at about 53 weeks, so just over a year. Um, and yeah, I mean, since we started that, now we have about 20, almost 25,000 email subscribers, um, another probably 60-ish thousand on social medias, 50 on Instagram, and then another 10 on TikTok and Facebook. Um, and yeah, that's the general gist of things. And we're doing fairly well for being a business and only for a year. And yeah, let's see what we can do in the future.
Yeah, no, those are crazy numbers. So a couple things. Are you doing? How much are you doing yourself versus do you have, a VA? Do you have anybody in town helping you?
Yeah, I mean, right now it is majority myself. I have like, a one or two part-time VAs, but like nothing crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, majority it's myself right now. Maybe once we increase that revenue number, we'll start like hiring folks out and that sort of thing. But yeah, right now I am trying to look for a salesperson though. So that's kind of something I am focusing on.
Okay. Okay. Um, so let's talk. The first thing that interests me that I know I need to learn the most about is how you're doing so well on Instagram. So maybe before we even talk about how you're doing it, um, tell me your thoughts on Instagram. I think from what I know, you're spending a ton of time on it. The importance of Instagram or lack thereof for people not focused on it. What has your experience been so far on how people who are starting local newsletters should think about Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of look at Instagram as a funnel in, right? So, let's say I'm making content on Instagram, it might not directly, that person that follows me might not directly subscribe to my email newsletter, right? But what Instagram does for me is first, it lets me widen the things that I can offer in a sponsorship package, right? So let's say at the very max, I can only charge $20,000 for having 24 email slots or something for a specific company, right? What that Instagram or that social media allows me to do is it allows me to get more budget out of that company. So if that company has a budget of $40,000, I can go to them and say, hey, I'll do 6 videos for you over the span of the next year for an additional $12,000 or something along those lines, right? So first, it opens up what I can offer when it comes to media or sponsorships and that sort of thing. So that's kind of the number one thing. Second is it also, because you're a more trusted brand when you're making videos and that sort of thing throughout the city, when people see your ads, they actually are a lot more likely to convert, right? I think Alex Ramosi has talked about this a few times where he gives so much free value through his content that when he goes and makes an ask through ads or through his paid advertising, the same people that watch his content are the ones that convert, but they just convert through the ads. And so that's kind of my thought process as well, is since I'm giving so much free value through the Instagram, when people do see an ad for the Winnipeg Digest, saying, hey, subscribe to our newsletter, is such a no brainer because they've already gotten all this value from the Instagram. So, I mean, over time, it will help lower your cost for acquiring a subscriber, right? And the last kind of pro I would say of having that Instagram account is I can realistically reach out to any account or any business locally at this point and get a reply because at this point we're a top three, top five followed account in the city. So the amount of pull that we have from a social perspective, they are almost obligated to reply to that DM if we do make it. So,
Yeah. No, that's awesome. What do you what about in your experience? We'll get into like ad, selling ads and whatnot. How do businesses think about the Instagram in comparison to the newsletter? Because I think the traditional way that most of us in this space think about it is, you know, local newsletters, owned audience, we control what they see, unlike the algorithm. But from a lot of people I've heard, that isn't necessarily how businesses see it. What's your experience? What do they say?
I mean, businesses definitely see the vanity metrics more and they want to be associated with the 50, 60,000 followers that you have. But for us, what we do is even if we bring them in through social, we will then say, hey, most businesses actually do the newsletter ad with us. Just because first we know that it's an audience that's likely to convert more. And second is we are able to track and actually tell you how the ad performs in comparison to Instagram, where yeah, we might be able to post a video, but the downside of that video is that most of the times it's really hard to track. Like, hey, how did it convert? How many people saw it, and that sort of thing. Which is why, like, even if someone comes in through social, we usually convert them over to the newsletter.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, I think to your point, building Instagram has so many value props that it for anybody doing this seriously, you probably should be putting effort into the Instagram.
It's also that when you're, let's say, I mean, I don't know if people watching this are looking to sell their newsletter or not. But I mean, let's say you down the line do get a great offer. A large portion of that offer will be because of the Instagram as well, right? Like the email list is great, the sponsorships are great from the email list, right? But at the end of the day, you having that built Instagram will only add to the amount of money that you can ask for when you are selling your company.
Yeah, that's another great point. Now so there's so many good reasons to do an Instagram, but let's be real here. The downside, right? How much effort are you putting into making these things?
I mean, from a weekly standpoint, I'm probably sitting at anywhere from like 10 hours, I would say. 10 hours a week, around there. Um, yeah, you can give us, because we post every day, so we post at least once a day. We used to be fully reels, so we only posted reels in the start, which I mean, again, like if you're gonna start an Instagram account, do what we did in the start, not what we're doing today. So don't go to our Instagram and start copying what we're doing today, but go and scroll back to the first post and see what we did back then. Because what we did to grow versus what we're doing to maintain and keep our audience engaged are two different things, right? In the beginning, we were very much reels heavy. So I would be like spending 2 hours a day first scripting, recording, putting it together, editing, right? Researching. So that was a lot heavier work when we were starting to get to that first like 10, 15,000 followers. Um, but now over time, now we have kind of shifted from like focusing on events and restaurants to now focusing on like community initiatives and city updates and oh, this road is closed here and things of that nature. So we can just do that through carousels. That takes us like 30 minutes a day to make in comparison to the 2 hours it took us with the reels.
So it sounds like you're saying the at the start, the more fun things is super important, like filming restaurants, filming what's going on
Mhm.
around town where you have to be in person. It's got to be a video. And then once you kind of get more at scale, just providing any sort of value is good, which can be a carousel explaining something happening. It doesn't have to be
Yeah, because
highly engaging.
Yeah, 100%. Because in the beginning, like the carousel is not going to perform that well because the reach is limited on a carousel. Whereas, yeah, I mean, you can knock it out of the park with a carousel as well, but a carousel will usually perform a lot better when you have a built-out audience because they're going to share that carousel to other people that, might be following you, might not be following you. And then the carousel starts to pick up like any sort of traction. But that's why I would say like when you're starting out, reels are your best option because everyone is scrolling that reels tab. And when you're talking about, let's say if I'm in Winnipeg, I'm talking about Winnipeg, Instagram's probably going to push that reel out to people in Winnipeg. So that's kind of the reason why in the beginning reels are so important. And reels don't have to be just walkthrough reels. Like you don't have to go to a restaurant or a coffee shop every day to go record. Um, in the beginning, like I think we only posted once or twice a week. That was like coffee shop or food related. Our reels otherwise consisted of um, more or less like green screen videos of like, hey, I'm in the front, I'm talking about events happening in the week, or
Yeah.
even the city updates that I would provide at that time were done through Reels because I would be in the front. I'd be like, hey, the premier just announced this, or the city just announced this, that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. Okay. So more just thinking about it as video first when you're starting out because videos get pushed more and are more engaging, and then you can do less video over time once your audience is big enough. So okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Awesome. Well, yeah, I think that's my general advice to everybody. Do what Jazz is doing. Start doing Instagram. Um, plus, I think maybe here's a good question for you. One of the other reasons I don't think maybe you kind of hinted at it, but where I keep coming back to is thinking more local media company and less local newsletter, meaning having multiple channels, multiple angles to hit people at. And of course, Instagram is one of those. But I built the full website out, and I've
Mhm.
got the local podcast. I just think it's just one piece, one leg of the stool to build the full brand where people can find you in so many different ways as opposed to just a newsletter. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I mean, you want to be multi-channel just because, for example, we are very much digital, right? Like we are um, doing again Instagram, TikTok, email, newsletter, which is why, as like similar to what Michael does, is like he brings his brand into the real world, whether that's through Monopoly boards or anything else. So now what we're doing is now we're getting into events and that
Yeah,
that sort of thing, just simply because we want to get our brand in the real world on real posters. Get folks coming out to real events that are associated with our brand. So over time, like you start to, anytime someone imagines anything fun happening in the city, they think of you.
that's right. I love that. Yeah, let's talk about events real quick. Events is one of the other biggest ones. I haven't done any yet, although we're starting to talk about it and wanting to do one soon. I know you've done a little bit about like farmers market type things, right? I don't know what else you've done. Tell me how events have gone for you, how you're thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, no, we haven't done any yet as at the moment. So this summer we do have five different ones planned though. So we're doing like summer markets. What they are is simple. It's free to attend. Anybody can come with their family, that sort of thing, and we only charge B2B vendors for being there. So it is kind of like a farmer's market. We're calling it like a summer market, right? Again, because it snows 7 months out of the year here, so that's why it makes sense to
I like
call it like a supermarket.
the thing people like.
Um, yeah, so like for someone else, it might make sense to call it a flea market, right? Like
Yeah.
it's all the same business model at the end of the day. You charge the vendors eventually maybe if we want to do something bigger, we charge the vendors and then we charge the people coming in like $10 or something like that. Um, but yeah, like the five that we're doing in the summer, they're all going to be only vendors and free for the public to attend.
And so tell me about how you figured this out because you're partnering with people, right? You're not doing this all by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to take on the hassle of putting on a full market, coordinating with vendors, talking to the venue, like doing sales with these vendors, billing them, that sort of thing. So what I did is we actually, so since we've been around for, yeah, like now about a year, when we were first starting out, we advertised like a local market here. It's called the Summer of Locals. And it performed really well. It performed super well that they came again in the winter for their winter market. So they were like, "Hey, Jazz, do you want to partner on this again?" Great. So I charged them like whatever, 2 grand, 2 times. It was great. And then I was like, "Hey, what if we partnered on something where I only charged you if it was through your profit, right? And I only made money if you made money." Um, and rather than you guys doing your summer market at once, I can handle all your marketing and we can do these summer markets multiple times. So that's kind of how the idea came about, is that I'm kind of like a fractional CMO, you can say, to them. And, what we're doing is now they're able to, because they don't have to focus on marketing, they're able to put on these markets, um, for 5 times this summer now. So.
That's really cool. This is actually interesting. Side topic, real quick. Are you doing anything marketing wise for them outside of just your Winnipeg Digest? Like, are you doing anything else, or just literally that?
Just mainly Winnipeg Digest, and then
Okay.
they'll obviously be putting out a few reels themselves as well on their Instagram and that sort of thing. And then probably about 2 weeks out, we'll start pushing some Facebook ads, maybe like $10 a day or something like that.
Okay. So
Yeah,
small
nothing crazy.
Facebook ad management,
Yeah,
just because you're good at that. And you know how to do that. So
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah. No, that's really cool. Again, I just love this idea of what we're doing here is building the brand where the brand has the value and it actually makes sense for people who want to put on these kind of events to just come to you and say, "Hey, we want to partner with you because you have the audience and the brand," right? Like that's literally what we're all trying to do here. You are much further along than most of us, but I mean, imagine 12 more months from now for you, right?
yeah,
When you've got double or probably triple what you have now, and you're just the go-to. You're literally going to have probably more inbound. You're going to have to turn good deals down because you're just not going to have capacity,
yeah,
right? You can't promote everything. So it's just cool to see this already happening. And I think for the people who take this seriously long term, this is what's going to happen for them. And it's exciting to hear it already happening for you. So that's cool. All right, tell us about advertising. I think you're ahead of, as far as I know. Well, maybe Ryan's a bit further ahead, but he's also been doing it 5 years, right? So tell us about ads, revenue. What you're doing. I think really what people want to know is, yeah, maybe give us some numbers if you're up for it. But what are you doing to succeed selling ads? Because everybody's somewhat struggling with that.
yeah. I mean, it's a very simple, like what we do is fairly simple. We will probably do about like maybe 3 to 5 emails, cold emails, outbound a day or something. Nothing crazy. We'll just like look at businesses that we think we might be able to add value to. So that's like home services, anything high LTV, dental offices, physio, anything related to that, med spas and that sort of thing. So we do that, and then we'll reach out to them on email and then Instagram as well. Sometimes it's just as much as grabbing a coffee, seeing how you can help, and that leads to some things. And then other than that, what we do is we try to really sell overall sponsorship packages rather than like one-off sponsorship packages. So anyone that reaches out to us, we actually try to get them on a full annual deal for $10,000, 10 newsletter posts, and one Instagram reel. Like that's our standardized package. For $10,000, and they get exclusivity in their niche. So that's kind of what we've been trying to do. The biggest thing for anyone trying to sell ads is you have to sell the exclusivity. You have to say,
Yep.
hey, we're in talks with 3 other people, that sort of thing. Even you might not be, right? Like in the beginning, I really wasn't. But then now, yeah, it really is, the summer's coming around. We're in talks with 2 or 3 landscaping companies. Now we have the power of which one we want to go with. Do we want to go with the one that pays the most, that's the most local, has maybe the best service, right? Like then you can pick and choose where you want to go. But your biggest thing that you're selling is the exclusivity part of the newsletter. Um, and so that's kind of what we've been doing as well. So any inbound or outbound that we do get on a call with, we will let them know that, hey, our differentiator. So we actually compare ourselves to other advertising methods. So in my, let's say, media kit, I have a full chart of how we compare to Facebook ads and local traditional advertising as well, right? And our edge over Facebook ads is the fact that we can provide exclusive advertising, whereas with Facebook ads, at the end of the day, you're just all competing for the same dollars, right? You and your competitor and that sort of thing. So that's the way we position it. And then in terms of numbers, we've probably done about $70,000 worth of ad sales like realized in the last year, and then another about 30,000 booked for the coming year or so. So that's kind of where we stand at the moment.
Nice. Okay. Um, and I think you had mentioned this. Is this still true? And I think this is the right angle. Is you probably get a lot of inbound from the types of businesses that are not ideal advertisers, right? And I think you had said for like one off, you know, the types that maybe could afford a one off, that as long as they make your life easy and they come to you and you've got a slot, you would take them, but you don't put in any energy chasing those people, right?
Yeah, I mean, we don't go and out like we don't go outbound and try and sell one-off ads. I mean, we charge probably about 12,000 to $1,200 for a one-off ad, but majority of the times these are people that are coming inbound to us. Plus, like we're almost at a point where we're hitting capacity with just our annual members, um, with like the amount of slots that we have available in a month.
Mm-hmm.
So now what we're gonna have to start doing is like, hey, if all of our primary ad slots are booked out through our annual sponsors, then we're only gonna sell secondary ad slots to anyone that's coming inbound and wants a one-off ad, right? So it's just simply additional revenue. Anything else is like, okay, we let's say we have 10 annual advertisers in a month, an email goes out 12 times, right? So generally speaking, we're almost at capacity for giving one ad slot a month to an advertiser. We're almost at capacity just with our annual advertisers.
What does a secondary ad slot mean? Does that just mean like further toward the bottom? Is it shorter? Both?
We haven't done any of those yet because we
Okay.
haven't had a like we haven't needed to go into that yet. But when we do, it'll most likely be something that's closer to the bottom, maybe less words, maybe it doesn't include an image, something along those lines, right? Like we're still testing out what that might look like.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me, I want to maybe chat about some ideas and get your take on what your vision is here. Do you, you know, a lot of us in Mike's group are talking about, and like I just said, right, with the full media company, of what else can be launched within this media company, right? So what some of the things that people are real excited about is concept of directories, like local business directories. There's job boards. Um, talk about. I'm trying to think what. There's at least two or three more I'm forgetting right now. But is there anything that you're thinking about launching at some point in the future to kind of do more of the brand, or are you happy with kind of Instagram newsletter events? How do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it just comes down to shots at goal, right? Like, I mean, we're just trying a bunch of stuff, seeing what works. Um, from actual, like, some tangible things that we're right now thinking about is we just have a bunch of stuff going on at the same time, right? So we have the events coming into play in less than a month now. So we're gonna do our first market then, right? So we have the summer to kind of test out, hey, how do these markets turn out? If the markets turn out great, amazing. I want to do like a Bryant Park, New York market. I want to do that type of market in Winnipeg. Because if I can do that in Winnipeg, I know for a fact that we could sell that out, right? So that's kind of first thing first. So we're testing out events. Second is I think that to the media business, there's probably a cap of about whatever 3 to 500,000, maybe $700,000 or something that you can sell in a year. Um, Even in that, we are now starting to try and develop our website, going to the directories game, as you said. Because again, even in the directories, like you can charge $200 to any business in the city, or like let's say $300 to any business in the city for being the top person in the directory list or something along those lines,
Mm-hmm.
right? For each industry. So let's say there's 30 industries, you do charge 300 per industry, right? Like that's a whatever, I think that's $9,000, right? That's $9,000 a month of additional revenue that you don't need to worry about, right? So I think that there is that play that your media company will cap out at whatever three, four, $500,000. Um, and that's kind of what we're doing with the media companies. We want it to be a constant cash cow, right? Right now we're spending a lot of money in Facebook ads. Eventually they'll probably stop in maybe another like a year or something like that, right? Um, and once we get to that point, then we'll start focusing on referrals. Maybe we start the money that we used to funnel into Facebook ads, we start focusing, putting that money into some sort of a referral gift or prize or something along those lines. Um, so yeah, I mean, to kind of come back to the question, so we think that the media company is going to cap out at about 500K, 600K. So we're now exploring events. We're focusing, yes, on directories as well. Then the reason that we're now advertising with a landscaping company, and we recently did a window cleaning company, and they were a one-off ad, so for $1,000, but they were able to make back their money in, I think, the first 24 hours.
Really?
So
You have that? They told you that?
yeah, so they're like, hey, because they're a small window company, so they don't just like randomly start getting
Yeah.
10, 20 calls a day, you know? So the guy told me, he's like, hey, we made about like $1,250 in the first 24 hours of the ad being live, and we charged him $1,000 for it. Um,
Mhm.
so, because we're testing those type of businesses out, we can in the future, let's say 2, 3 years, we can just start using the money that we're getting from our media company to start funneling into whether it's starting our own businesses in the home service space, or again, going with the same model that we are with the markets. Go to a existing small player in HVAC or plumbing, show him your value, show him what you can deliver, and then say to him come third year that, hey, if you want to renew this contract, it will have to be an equity only contract. We are not going to take any like cash because we're too big at this point for you to kind of afford us, right?
Yep.
And I think that's kind of the route that we will end up going, is like a hold co route.
Yep. Which I think is smart. A lot of people are thinking that, right? Is once you have
Yeah.
the local audience and it's very large and you can have a big impact and you've built all this trust over time, then how do you do better than, like you said, just taking cash for ads? So I think that's super smart.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing that people get wrong is, yes, they build the audience, they build the 10, 20, 10 15,000 people, right? But they just can't figure out how do you even initially monetize this audience. And yeah, 100% the whole co play is there, whatever, 3 to 5 years down the line. But realistically, like, you need to be able to figure out a way to be able to monetize this audience in the short term so you can get
Mhm.
to a point
That's right.
where you can turn it into a hold co, and it does make sense.
Totally. Well, that's why actually I want to ask you about this. If you, I talk about this all the time, so people probably don't need to hear what I have to say about it again. But how do you think about, or do you at all think about expanding outside of Winnipeg, either for yourself as, hey, I'm just going to launch it just like I did Winnipeg, somewhere I don't live, and hire somebody, or some sort of partnership, or I don't know. Do you think about launching another newsletter somewhere else?
We're not actively going out of our way to do it for sure. Like, we're not thinking about it just yet, because I also think rather than me growing two locations, I would just rather funnel that money back into Winnipeg for now. Because
Mhm.
Winnipeg's like a million people city.
Yeah, I
Like,
was
it's
gonna
not
say
a,
you're in a big place.
yeah, it's not like a small city by any means. So we can, because our audience is about a million people, we can keep funneling money back into Facebook ads until we're probably at about like 50,000 subscribers or something like that, you
Yeah,
know? So we have a good ways to go before, we run out of money or subscribers by any means. So
yeah.
that's kind of the first thing first. Second is the second thing that I'm looking at is, I just think there's a lot of opportunity in Winnipeg right now, um, that I can focus on. For example, the markets and the directory, and anything else, like whether it's talking to local businesses and that sort of thing. That we just don't have the time right now or the bandwidth to go and start a second location. If
Hmm.
I were to do it though, it would most likely be that, hey, someone goes and starts this newsletter in um, Regina or something, which is like probably like a 6, 7 hour drive from here. It's another major city, so that's probably like a few 100,000 people. They're a different province, but they're like not too far away. Or if someone started one there and wasn't able to monetize it, then we would come in and try and buy those subscribers from them.
Interesting. Okay, so you are looking at acquiring. I mean, potentially, if it made sense, acquire basically somebody who starts one and then, like we're talking about, can't figure out monetization and just wants to dump it. You scoop it up.
Which again, like if you're watching this, 9 out of 10 people that are probably watching this won't be able to figure out monetization. Just because it is like heavy sales. Like you are
Mhm.
like it in the beginning it is sales. Like you're selling them on
Yeah.
this dream and that sort of thing. And eventually, yeah, you become a brand, but
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the point, right? Is getting to that real brand status. It's not only numbers, it's also time in terms of time in the market and people
mhm.
seeing your brand enough. So I don't care if you throw 50 grand at it in 3 months, you still like don't have a recognizable brand because you haven't been around long enough. People aren't used to seeing you
Yeah,
enough. So that
exactly.
is what your point is that you got to be in the game long enough to have that real brand recognition. And the only way most likely you can do that is if you figure out monetization to keep yourself alive.
Which is why, like, I almost disagree with people that say that, hey, we're gonna spend 10 grand a month and ramp this up to 10,000 people in the first month, because I think that's great. You know, you should do that if you have the money.
If you have the money.
But the other downside of it is you're getting all this growth in the first month, so you're like front loading your growth, right? So yeah, you can go sell to advertisers a lot easier by all means because you have all this audience. But you also built a brand in a month, right? And the downside to that is no one really knows you, right? Like you've maybe sent out 6 editions, right? Not enough people know you. They maybe find valuable whatever you're sending and that sort of thing. But I think there are kind of like these growing pains that you want to go through. So which is why I would say like spend maybe 3 grand or something a month, like maybe $100 a day or something is kind of the cap that I would put it at. Um, just because then you're growing at a very steady and healthy pace. Um, and that gives you the time to like refine your content, be recognized as a great brand in the city, right? And over time, you can start launching these other channels like Instagram and everything else as well. Whereas, like, if you go and dump a bunch of money in the beginning, you actually never go through those growing pains at all.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that makes perfect sense. The ability to learn what your
Hmm.
subscribers want, what they don't want. Yeah, I think there's a ton of value there. I mean, I guess coming back to this potential problem of what we're describing, the people that I'm talking to about starting this business model are people who already have the local small business, right? So they
Hmm.
already make 6 figures, some maybe in the 7 figures. They have the local cleaning company, local landscape company, whatever it is, and they're seeing this as another opportunity to own their marketing channel. And so those are the ones where I think it actually is more viable to throw more money at it because this
Yeah.
is a secondary thing. I mean, some of these guys that I've talked to, it's kind of, I tell them how much money we put into this and how, not financially, but at least the audience we have and the impact we're having. And they're like, that's all it would cost to get that. Like it's nothing to them. Right. So it does
Yeah.
change the game when you're in that position. But I think those are the type of people who are not watching this. Right.
I
They're,
mean, the problem with that specific thing that you're saying as well is a lot of these people are blue collar operations and operations heavy people. Um, and I don't think that they will be able to write in a way that is amazing for that audience, that local audience, right? Like there is kind of this like copywriting, this like design kind of background that one not has to come from, but at least has to learn to be able to launch a successful local newsletter, right? There is like, oh, how's your design? Is there finesse in your brand, right? Is there how's the copy, how's the text that you're writing, is it easy to read, right? And I think a lot of these blue collar operations heavy people, they love the idea of having that audience, but they don't understand the amount of work that it does go into writing 3 editions a week to be able to maintain that audience, or to be able to really nurture that person, right?
yeah, well, I think that's totally true. That's what I'm helping them solve, right?
Yeah.
By me and my team kind of doing that for them, or at least doing a lot of it for them and guiding them. But yes, I totally agree that the people who have it's just like anything in life, right? The people who have the money to do it, don't have the time, and the people with the time don't have the money, and
Mhm.
the difficulty there. Hey, have you, since you're so big on Instagram, this is something I'm thinking a lot about, and I'm seeing in our group a little bit of pushback, but I'm still hopeful. Have you done much in terms of giveaways to grow either the Instagram or the newsletter, or how do you think about giveaways?
I don't think that a giveaway is the smart move for the newsletter, personally. Just because, I mean, yeah, you'll get the audience, but a lot of people will put in fake emails or, emails that they're probably never going to use and that sort of thing. So you're artificially inflating the number of your subscribers, I would say. Yeah, I mean, what you can do, and I know of, like, this makes sense for, like, oh, if you're running an AI newsletter or something, right? Like, one of my friends, he runs an AI newsletter, and he did a lot of giveaways, like MacBook giveaways and that sort of thing. Because what he would do is, his whole play was, okay, if we're going to get 10,000 new subscribers, let's just say 5,000 of them are active. Um, right? We're just going to think of it as, okay, we're spending 2 grand on the Apple MacBook to acquire 5,000 subscribers, because we know that the other 5,000 we're going to have to cut anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But it's still worth it because getting 5,000
it's
subs for 2 grand in a high value niche.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, I think it all comes down to, is that how you want to grow your brand? I like, right now, I just don't think that that's how we want to grow our brand, or be super associated with doing like heavy big giveaways. Um, I think that's kind of the first thing. For Instagram, we did do a few, but the way we did it for Instagram is, we actually just got a third party company to sponsor us. So we got a third party company who actually paid us to make the post. So they paid us, let's say, $800 for the post. At the time, we was fairly small. They paid us $800 for the post, and then they paid us another $400 to buy the giveaway prize, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so in total, they paid us, let's say, $1,200. With that 1,200, and then on top of that, they paid us another like $500 to push it with paid ads. So what we did is, we made the post. We went and got like a local prize, like a local spa or something that was worth $400. Um, we made the post, got some organic reach, and then we put the other $500 they gave us in Facebook ads. So it was a really like big win-win-win for us, because we're the ones doing the giveaway. We're getting additional exposure from Facebook ads. And then on top of that, we're getting the new followers as well, right? So there was this like big push that we got. So I think that's probably the best way of doing it, if you are gonna do a giveaway, or you have to associate it with a milestone. Associate, like, we just hit 50,000 followers on Instagram. I just don't know what to do for that. I also don't want to spend $1,000.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean that makes a lot of sense. Let me just throw out how I'm thinking about it. Again, feel free to tell me if you think this is a bad idea because I haven't done this. I'm just thinking about it. But I have talked to a few of the like event venues. I've talked to a couple restaurants. I've talked to a big kind of hotel theme park chain out here, and they all have excess. Well, let's just specifically say the event venue and the hotel where
Hmm.
they don't sell all the tickets to the concerts, right? Or they don't sell out their hotel, and they actually make money when people are there, right? So they would literally make more money by giving away tickets or hotel rooms for free versus just letting them go to waste, right? And so I'm thinking about it less of a like, oh, hey, here's a Yeti cooler. I'm giving away a Yeti cooler if you sign up. And more just like, hey, this is what we do in our brand. We curate all this free, cool stuff and we give it away either. I'm still torn on the whole like using Instagram as like non subscribers or current subscribers. Like, hey, we give away cool stuff to our current subscribers and just creating that like excitement around the brand because there's no cost to the business, no cost to me. I don't know. I'm trying to work this one in my head. What thoughts do you have there?
I mean, I know I've kept up with a few of the podcasts that you've done. So I know you had mentioned this idea before too, about like maybe doing like a $9 a month subscription or something
And that's
to,
part of the angle too. Yeah.
yeah. I think the best angle would be, the biggest problem that someone has is converting Instagram followers into email subscribers. Okay.
Okay.
So what I would do for you is, I would actually give those hotel spots and that sort of thing for free, for anyone that does go and subscribe to your email newsletter from your Instagram. So I think that would be the play there, is that's how you can convert your Instagram followers that are already following you on one channel. They wouldn't mind following you on a second channel like email. So that's how you can convert your Instagram followers um into email subscribers, is by offering these free perks of concert tickets and that sort of thing. And you can say, hey, these are only available through our newsletter or something, 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 right? And I
Mhm.
think there is that play to it. Second thing that I can also think of is you can change your welcome email every week or something along those lines to update the promotions every single week. So the only way someone can actually maybe enter to get some of these tickets and hotel rooms is if they're a new subscriber that week, right?
Interesting. Yeah.
So I think that's the way I would go about it. Is I would almost use it as a cost to um, to acquire new subscribers through Instagram.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's interesting. Although, you know, my biggest thing right now that I'm focused on is growing an Instagram like yours. I do feel like the importance there is significant, and but I don't want to be out filming stuff, right? So that's the hard part. And it's like, well, I would love to just go pay some local to do it, but then finding the person who do it and then doing it at the right price is just like difficult, right?
I
So
mean, you can charge per video. Like, I think you can post one or two videos a week and you'll be fine as
that's
well,
will be good.
right?
Yeah.
And I would charge per video, like, hey, I'll pay, like, this is what I'll pay you per video, or you can also do it as shout outs that, hey, you'll get in front of this many email people in this city. Like, let's say if they already have a photography business or something like that, and they're like a freelancer and they're good with video. You could also be like, hey, I'll promote your photography page this many times in the newsletter in exchange for this. So you can do a service
That's
exchange of
I
sorts.
love that. Dude, that's such a
Yeah,
good
you
I think that's key, is the trading for stuff like that where you're both providing value to each other.
when you're small 100% you can do that, and then also once you get big enough you'll get people that just want to work for you for free. Like,
Yeah.
we don't do that just yet, but like we probably have I mean, I could probably 10 to 15 people who want to make content for Winnipeg Digest for free, right?
Mm-hmm.
All for simply just wanting a collab with their account because they want to grow their account. We
Mm-hmm.
have a large following, they make great content. They'll do that for free as long as we collab with their account,
That's great.
right? So there is that plays that once you get to like the 10, 15,000 follower mark, you'll get people inbound just saying, hey, we just want to help you for free. Like, we don't even want anything. We just want it for the experience.
Yep. I mean, it makes sense. It totally makes sense, and I'm excited
And
for
once
that
you're
day.
and once you're past that 10,000 follower mark, or even like at 5,000 followers, you can start really going into like carousels. Carousels can be huge for you. Because what you play on carousels is, hey, go share this with your friends. And when you share it with your friends, you're trying to convert their friends into followers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is so true. Okay. Last question. I'm kind of been asking everybody this. And I know you're a smart internet entrepreneur. Thoughts on AI, its potential impact, just AI in general. I know there's 80,000 angles to go with AI, but any general thoughts on AI and impact on local media?
yeah, I mean, I think it'll have a huge local impact on media, but that's why I think it is more important to build up that audience right now.
Mm-hmm.
So when AI is at that point where, you click a button and it generates a local newsletter for tomorrow, when it is at that point, you already have the local audience that needs that product.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the people that are going to try and build that audience when that product is already real, like, you click a button and you get a full newsletter, they're already way too behind, right? Like,
All right.
at this point, if someone were to start a newsletter in Winnipeg, I can confidently say they're way too behind for them to be able to compete with me at this point. Um, Simply because they would have no angle, or they would have to go a completely different angle from a local
Mm-hmm.
media standpoint to acquire the same subscribers that we have, right? So if someone is already subscribed to our, let's say, email newsletter, for because we cover everything, we cover local news, community initiatives, city updates, events, restaurants, charities, we cover everything, right? So what reason does a person that's already subscribed to my email, what reason do they have to go and subscribe to the same product a second time, right? Um, so that's kind of first thing first. So I'm pretty confident even now that even if someone were another competitor were to spin up, they're almost too late. So if let's say someone were to start a Winnipeg competitor when this whole AI thing does end up happening, where you can click a button and get a local newsletter, they're almost way too late because we have an audience that's built out.
Because you now can
Um,
do it, the same thing, and
yeah,
you already have the
yeah,
audience. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
no, but yeah, I mean that's kind of the reason why I think now is the time if you're going to build an audience, because you're probably about a year to max 2 years away to the point where you can actually do that. You know, where you can actually click a button and get tomorrow's local newsletter. Um, so which is why I think now is the time, if ever, to then go and build that audience.
I think that's a great way to leave it because I completely agree. I've been telling all the guys in my network who are coming to me with like, I'm interested, I think, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
if you want to do it now. And also just knowing when you start a business, and this is true for most businesses right now, right? Is that it's probably going to get easier
hmm
because AI is going to help make it easier. Now, there's downsides to that, but it will get easier, and to be aware of that.
I mean, I'll also just like leave everybody here is let's say if the person watching this lives 5 hours away from me, right? And they don't start an audience, they don't build an audience today. Great. In 2 years, when this whole AI thing does end up happening, and I can build a newsletter for any city in 5 to 10 minutes, right? Then as someone who has already built out a local newsletter, I have such a competitive edge over you that even if I want to come to your city and build out a local newsletter, I already know what to do, how much money to spend, how to run the ads, what ads to run, um, right? How do I grow a social following? I already know all of that. So unless you have a time advantage on your hand, because I will have already built the whole local newsletter somewhere else, I can come to your city and do that in such a shorter period of time than you can.
Totally. I
Yeah.
mean, exactly. And that comes back to the whole learning thing, right? Like we're
Yeah.
doing this now, we're figuring it out,
Yeah.
we're learning. And then by the time it's easy, we know everything to do. So yeah, no, I agree. If you're
Yeah.
interested in doing this, reach out to me if you might need help. Because I do think you got to do it soon. Make up your
Yeah.
mind, you know? Um, but awesome. Jazz, this
Yeah,
has been really great. As I expected, you're awesome. You're one of the leaders in the space. Everyone should be following you.
thank you.
Where should they follow you? Twitter?
Yeah, it's creating jazz on Twitter, so that's CreatingJazz. Yeah, DM me if you need any help. Happy to help, and then yeah, reach out to TJ. He's a great person in the space as well, and see what we can do.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much,
Perfect.
Jez. We'll talk later. See you.
Bye.